Hello and welcome to K News. This is Hardik Trivedi. Let's have a look what is happening in India and in the world. The US says it has closed its consulate in Chengdu, China. China ordered the consulate closed in retaliation for a US order to shut down the Chinese consulate in Houston last week. A statement from the State Department said that the consulate suspended operations at 10 a.m. on Monday. It expressed disappointment at China's decision and said the US would try to continue its outreach to the region through its other missions in China. The American flag has been taken down at a US consulate in southwestern China, according to state media, as officials vacate the premises under order of the Chinese government. State broadcaster CCTV said on its social media account that the flag was lowered at 6:18 a.m. on Monday at the US mission in Chengdu, the capital of Sichuan's province. Police have closed off a 2 of 3 block area around the consulate, cutting off virtually any view of the property. Vehicles could be moving in the distance behind multiple police lines. China ordered the closing of the consulate on Friday in retaliation for a US order to close the Chinese consulate in Houston. The tit-for-tat closings marked a significant escalation in the tensions between the two countries over a range of issues, including trade, technology, security, and human rights. Iran has moved a mock aircraft carrier to the strategic Strait of Hormuz amid high tensions between Tehran and the US. Satellite photographs released on Monday show, likely signaling the Islamic Republic soon plans to use it for live fire drills. Iranian state media and officials have yet to acknowledge bringing the replica out of the Strait of Hormuz, through which 20% of the world's oil passes. However, its appearance there suggests Iran Paramilitary Revolutionary Guard is preparing an encore of a similar mock sinking it conducted in 2015. The US Navy's Bahrain-based Fifth Fleet, which patrols Middle East waterways, did not immediately respond to a request for a command. The replica resembles the Nimitz-class carriers that the US Navy routinely sails into the Persian Gulf from the Strait of Hormuz, the narrow mouth of the waterway. The USS Nimitz, the namesake of the class, just entered Mid-East waters late last week from the Indian Ocean, likely to replace the USS Dwight Eisenhower in the Arabian Sea. The political crisis in Rajasthan is taking an interesting turn. The Gehlot government on the floor test may have got a big relief from the High Court on a petition filed against the merger of BSP MLAs. But the rebel Sachin Pilot Camp has made a new claim. 15 MLAs are in touch with them and they will join as soon as they are freed. Pilot Camp MLA Hemaram Chaudhary said 10 to 15 MLAs are in contact with Ashok Gehlot Camp, who are saying that they will join us as soon as they are freed. If Gehlot removes the restrictions, it will be clear how many MLAs are on our side. On the other hand, the Congress has said that the role of the governor of Rajasthan has been shocking, and the party on Monday staged a protest in front of Raj Bhavans across the country in protest against the similar role of BJP appointed governors. Senior Congress leader and former Union Minister P. Chidambaram told a press conference that the role of governors is important in the conduct of parliamentary democracy. The governor can issue summons to the MLAs along with when assembly convenes, and if the chief minister wants to prove majority, the governor can call a meeting of the legislative assembly. He hoped that the governor would soon call a session of the Legislative Assembly and respect the constitution. He said that the most of the governors appointed by the BJP after 2014 have mocked constitutional procedures by misusing the post. The first batch of 5 Rafale jets took off from France on Monday and will be arriving in India on Wednesday, when the much-awaited fire jets will officially be conducted and join the Indian Air Force fleet at the Ambala Air Base in Haryana. The Rafale aircraft will cover a distance of nearly 7,000 kilometers from France to India with air-to-air refueling and a single stop en route in UAE. The Indian Air Force pilots and supporting personnel have been provided full training on aircraft and weapon systems by Dassault. The Indian Embassy in France said the event marked a new milestone in strong and growing India-France defense cooperation. The embassy also released a short video titled Beauty and the Beast, showcasing Rafale jets ready for takeoff. Indian Ambassador Javed Ashraf was there to see off the Rafale aircraft. He also met the Indian pilots and congratulated them on becoming the first ones to fly the world's most advanced and potent fighter aircraft and wished them success. India ordered 36 Rafale jets from France in a deal worth rupees 59,000 crore in September 2016 as an emergency purchase to arrest the worrying slide in the IAF's combat capabilities. France handed over to India its first Rafale fighter during a ceremony attended by Defense Minister Rajnath Singh and his French counterpart Florence Pagny in Magnac on October 8 last year. The delivery of all 36 aircraft will be completed by the end of 2021, said the Indian mission in France. After repeated requests, Rajasthan Governor Kalraj Mishra on Monday agreed to summon a session of the State Assembly, provided the government gives a 21-day notice. The condition is part of 3 suggestions that the governor has made while returning Ashok Gehlot Cabinet's recommendation that he should call a session for the Vidhan Sabha. In their notification issued today, the governor denied that he was delaying the summoning of the House, even though the Congress and CM have accused him of being under pressure from the top. This was the second time that Governor Mishra had returned a cabinet proposal on convening the assembly amid the power tussle in Rajasthan. The state government, the governor said, should undertake the broadcast live the proceedings of a floor test if it takes place. It should also ensure precautions during the proposed Vidhan Sabha sitting against the spread of coronavirus, the governor's note said. Citing the coronavirus situation, the governor had earlier said it would be difficult to call the all MLAs at a short notice. The governor had earlier questioned the need for calling the session when the government already had the majority and the disqualification matter was pending in the Supreme Court. In another development, Assembly Speaker CP Joshi withdrew its petition from the top court, challenging a July 21 order of the High Court, directing him to defer disqualification proceedings against former Deputy Chief Minister Sachin Pilot and 18 Congress legislators backing him. When the 6 Bahujan Samaj Party legislators in the Rajasthan Assembly joined the Congress last September, it was a boost for the Ashok Gehlot government, taking its tally from 99 to a majority of 105 without the help of supporting independent MLAs. However, seeing an opportunity, the party that largely draws its support from Dalits has joined the legal fight to claim the six as its own and the merger as illegal. The BSP has issued a whip for the MLAs to vote against Gehlot's government. This has become the Congress party's latest headache in the ongoing tussle for power in Rajasthan. The 10th schedule of the constitution permits the merger of a legislative party, and the contention that the BSP as a national party must merge with the Congress. For the BSP legislators to merge with Congress is misconceived. The parent party may not merge, but members of a legislative party have the right to merge with some other party under the 10th schedule of the Anti-Defection Act. Fernandez was countering the contention senior BSP leader Satish Mishra, who said in a statement on Sunday night that individual MLAs cannot merge unless there is a national level merger between two parties. Whip was issued as the MLAs had won elections on BSP tickets and they cannot get involved in Congress's activities or vote for them. The BSP chief decided this after a lot of deliberation. We are working on Mayawati's direction, said BSP leader Bhagwan Singh. Congress leader Rahul Gandhi has said those claiming Chinese forces have not occupied Indian territory is nationalistic. Haven't occupied in Indian territory in Ladakh are not nationalistic and patriotic, and he will continue to speak the truth about Beijing's transgressions even if his whole political career goes to hell. Stepping up the attack on the government over the Chinese intrusions, Gandhi said the People's Liberation Army continues to occupy parts of Indian territory in Ladakh. Now it is pretty clear that the Chinese have entered our territory. Gandhi, who has been criticized by the Bharatiya Janata Party for his remarks on the border standoff, said hiding the truth and allowing China to occupy Indian territory is anti-national, and bringing it to people's attention is patriotic. I think the people who are lying about Chinese entering our country are the people that are not nationalistic. I think the people who are lying and who are saying that the Chinese are not in India, they are the people who are not patriotic. Gandhi asserted he would not lie to the people of India on Chinese intrusions, even if it cost him politically. Gandhi has repeatedly targeted PM Modi and his government over the Chinese transgressions and said the Prime Minister was not being transparent on the issue. The Congress has been demanding that status quo ante be restored at the LAC and Chinese troops be pushed back to their side. It's time for a short break. We will join you in a short while.
Every Aftundi fan with the cooler number one. Eka chase go more fun, unte cooler number one. Eka don't run from the sun, unte Kenstar number one. पहली नजर हो गया मैं दीवाना 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 इतना सुंदर जैसे कोई सपना सुहाना मैं दीवाना दीवाना
कटारिया टाइल्स, जो देखे वो दीवाना।
Welcome back to K News and thank you for watching. Let's continue the streak of news. Serum Institute of India on Monday said that the distribution of COVID-19 vaccine vials in India will be through a government network rather than private entities. The firm, known to be the largest vaccine manufacturer by volume across the world, said everyone will get the dose. Once the vaccine is made, everyone will be getting it. It is very early to talk about this, the SII said in a written statement. SII has been chosen by the Oxford and its partner AstraZeneca to manufacture the vaccine once it gets ready. On the distribution part, SII said people will not have to purchase it in the market since the government will be distributing it. On distribution, once the vaccine trials are done and successful, it will be procured and distributed by the government so that people don't have to buy it directly, said the Pune-based firm. SII has already made an application seeking permission from the DCGI for conducting phase 2 and 3 human clinical trials in India. The company plans to conduct trials in Pune and Mumbai, which have seen high prevalence of COVID-19 infections. That will help SII test the efficacy of the vaccine. The SII in earlier statement had said that by end of August, between 4,000 to 5,000 people in Pune and Mumbai will be injected with the vaccine as part of trials that are scheduled to last over 2 months. The steps by SII on seeking application from the DCGA came after Oxford University reported satisfactory progress from the vaccine test results last week. The world's biggest COVID-19 vaccine study got underway Monday with the first of 30,000 planned volunteers helping to test shots created by the US government, one of several candidates in the final stretch of the global vaccine race. There is still no guarantee that the experimental vaccine developed by the National Institutes of Health and Moderna will really protect. It normally takes years to create a new vaccine from scratch, but scientists are setting speed records this time around, spurred by knowledge that vaccination is the world's best hope against the pandemic. The coronavirus was not even known to exist before late December, and vaccine makers sprang into action January 10 when China shared the virus's genetic sequence. Unfortunately for the United States for America, we have plenty of infections right now to get that answer, Dr. Anthony Fauci recently said. Several other vaccines made by China and by Britain's Oxford University earlier this month began smaller final stage tests in Brazil and other hard-hit countries. Governments around the world are trying to stockpile millions of doses of those leading candidates, so if and when regulators approve one or more vaccines, immunizations can begin immediately. But the first available doses will be rationed, presumably reserved for people at high risk from the virus. The Supreme Court on Monday sought a reply from University Grants Commission on a batch of pleas challenging its circular and seeking cancellation of final term examinations in the wake of COVID-19 pandemic. A bench headed by Justice Ashok Bhushan asked the UGC to file a reply by Wednesday and posted the matter for further hearing on Friday. Solicitor General Tushar Mehta, appearing for the UGC, told the court that there are 818 universities, out of which 209 universities have already conducted examination online or offline, and 394 others are planning to conduct the same. He said that the UGC has given options like online, offline and both for conducting exams, and added that the government guidelines are there as per which not more than 10 students per room are allowed for the exams. The court was hearing a petition filed by as many as 31 students from different universities across India seeking to quash the UGC circular dated July 6, whereby all universities all across India have been asked to wrap up the final term examinations before September 30. The students in the petition urged that the exams should be cancelled and the results of such students should be calculated on the basis of their internal assessment or past performance. The petition filed by the students from 13 states and one union territory requested that the students' mark sheets should be issued before July 31. The Delhi High Court, while hearing several petitions related to the Northeast Delhi violence in February this year, on Monday allowed two petitioners to withdraw their pleas with the liberty to approach trial courts. A bench of Chief Justice T.N. Patel and Justice Pratik Jalan allowed petitioners Harsh Mandar and Brinda Karat, who were represented by senior lawyer Kapil Sibbal and advocate Adit Pujari respectively, to withdraw their petitions. The petitioners who withdrew their petition had sought registration of FIRs under provisions of the Code of Criminal Procedure in the Northeast Delhi violence matter. The High Court adjourned the matter for next Monday, noting that some of the rejoinders and counter affidavits were not on record. The Delhi police, in its affidavit on the pleas, had submitted that the police authorities acted promptly, vigilantly, and effectively without any fear or favor, as a result of which violence could be contained in a few days and to a limited area. Speeches of political leaders including Sonia Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi, Priyanka Gandhi, Anurag Thakur, Kapil Mishra, Pravesh Verma, Waris Pathan and others are being examined by the Delhi police, and necessary action in this regard will be taken in due course of time if it is found on the evidence that their speech had any nexus with the riots, the affidavit said. In the affidavit, the Delhi police said that the petitions raising questions on the investigation is nothing but a blatant and brazen misuse of the public interest litigation. Around 53 people lost their lives in the violence that erupted in northeast Delhi after clashes erupted between two opposing factions over the Citizenship Amendment Act. Reliance Industries, controlled by Asia's richest man, toppled ExxonMobil Corporation to become the world's largest energy company after Saudi Aramco, as investors piled into the conglomerate lured by the Indian firm's digital and retail forays. Reliance, which manages the biggest refinery complex, gained 4.3% in Mumbai on Friday, adding 8 billion to take its market value US dollars 189 billion, while ExxonMobil erased about 1 billion. Reliance's shares have jumped 43% this year, compared with a 39% drop in Exxon's shares as refiners across the globe struggled with a plunge in fuel demand. Aramco, with the market capitalization of 1.76 trillion US dollars, is the world's biggest energy company. While the energy business accounted for about 80% of Reliance's revenue in the year ended March 31, Chairman Mukesh Ambani's plan to expand the company's digital and retail arms has helped him attract US dollars 20 billion into the Jio Platforms unit. That in turn helped add 22.3 billion to Ambani's wealth this year, propelling him to the 5th spot in the Bloomberg Billionaire Index. Mr. Ambani's deal-making has lured investments from Google to Facebook into his digital platform in recent months. The 63-year-old tycoon has identified technology and retail as future growth areas. The government is considering a request to allow movie theaters and gyms to reopen with several restrictions as part of Unlock 3 or the next phase of emerging from the coronavirus lockdown, sources said on Monday. Schools and colleges will continue with online classes for now, sources said on the likely scenario from August. An association of cinema halls has recommended to the Information and Broadcasting Ministry that theaters be allowed to function with 25 to 30% capacity. The request has been forwarded to the Union Home Ministry. Gyms may also open with many restrictions, the sources said. The Delhi government had asked the centre to allow metro operations, but the centre is yet to take a decision. Sources say the centre is moving with caution on easing restrictions as many festivals are scheduled in next month. The decision will be a tough one as India approaches nearly 50,000 COVID-19 cases a day. The country has 14.35 lakh total cases so far and 32,000 deaths, and globally ranks just after US and Brazil. Even if the centre gives the go-ahead to reopening theatres and gyms, states can take the final decision, sources say. The government is soon going to set up a single window system for clearances and approvals of industry in the country, taking to the sovereign wealth funds, the foreign pensions funds and other on ease of doing business and investments in infrastructure sector in India. Commerce and Industry Minister Shri Piyush Goyal said that this would be a genuine single window and all the concerned state governments and central ministries are being taken on board for the system. The minister also said that the government is working on creating a land bank for which 6 states have already given their consent. He said that the potential investors would then be able to locate and identify the land banks from the distant offices and finalize their location of industries without frequently visiting the offices of land owning agencies. The minister said that the government had initially identified 12 industrial sectors to focus upon, and the same has been expanded to 20. This will help in scaling up investment and leveraging the competitive edge of the country. He said that Atmanirbhar Bharat does not mean India is closing the doors for the world, but widening its doors for opportunities and investment with the focus on quality of the Indian products, increasing economies of scale for the production in India. That's all for now. Keep watching K News. This is Hardik Trivedi taking your leave. Be alert, be positive, be safe.